Hey everyone, welcome to another Open Cluster Management Community Meetings. Today we have lots to cover. We have Wei Liu, who's going to cover full type of KCP and OCM integration. And then we have Quinn Hao and Li Yang to talk about the placement API Taints Toleration Enhancement proposal. And then finally, Quinn Hao and Q Zhang going to continue the conversation about how to make our OCM community better. So to start off, Wei Liu, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I will share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Let me stop my sharing. Could you try sharing again?
Okay, I try it. Okay, can you see my screen?
Still not yet.
What's wrong? Can you see it?
Don't know, unfortunately.
No.
Let me restart the routines.
Okay.
Can you see it this time?
Nope, I don't see it. Oh, okay, it's coming.
Something's coming up.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But it's black.
No. We can't still.
We can't see it. Maybe we can let Quinn Hao and Li Yang to talk about the placement API Taints Toleration Enhancement first.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Quinn Hao and Li Yang, could you please go ahead? Thank you.
Okay, let me try to share my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah.
We can see it.
Okay. So first, I and Yanglo will try to introduce our implementation on the Taints and Toleration. We will do a demo. This part is based on the enhancements in our repo. So this basically we try to define a taints in managed cluster and a toleration in placement so that the users can control the selection of managed cluster more flexible, and we can evict the selected unhealthy and non-reporting cluster to be evicted after a certain period. The background is that for the new placement enhancements, we have a need to support filtering unhealthy and non-reporting cluster and keep workload from being placed on unhealthy and unreachable clusters. So we consider it as a similar logic of the taint and toleration in Kubernetes. Basically, there are two things we do. First is we implement the taint and toleration in placement API. And we also add a new controller to map the state of cluster to a taint automatically, so that the taint and toleration could work together to allow users to control the selection of managed cluster more flexibility and evict the selected cluster after a certain period. So basically, the taints are the priorities of the managed cluster. Yangla will demo this part, so how we add a taint to cluster automatically. And for placement, when we meet a taint, it will repel a set of managed cluster. And also, if the toleration are applied to the placement, we can allow the managed cluster with matching taint to be scheduled onto. So next, I will first do the demo for the placement part, and then Yellow will do a demo for the how we add tint to manage cluster. Okay. This is my environment installed with latest OCM. The first case is that I want to show that the workload will not be scheduled onto a cluster with tint.
I think we cannot see your desktop. Can you see it now? Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have two managed clusters. If you check the tint, you can see we already have two tint added to the two cluster. The tint key is GPU and value is true. It has a time added, means when the tint is added. And the effect is if we have this tint, how we choose the cluster. And first I will create a placement without any tolerations. This placement don't have any toleration, so actually the cluster with tint won't be selected. And as you can see in the result, the select cluster is 0. And if you check the decision, there is no placement decision generated. And case 2, I will try to add a toleration in the placement so that the workload could be scheduled to the cluster with tint. In the update YAML, I add some tolerations. The key and value are matched with the cluster 1 and 2's tint. Okay, let's apply the placement. You can see there are two clusters selected now. And the decision generated. And in the result, both cluster 1 and 2 are selected. Okay, this 2 demo is a very basic usage of tint and toleration. In the toleration, we also have a field called toleration second. In the demo 3, I will show how to use it. The case 3 is that the user workload could be transferred to another available managed cluster after a tolerated time. This can be used for the case like your workload is scheduled to one cluster and that cluster becomes unreachable. If you set toleration second, then your workload will be transferred to another healthy cluster after a certain period. Okay, first I clean the tint in current managed cluster, and there is no tint now. Then I will try to create a placement like this. It is desired to select one cluster, and it has some tolerations. The key is to match the unreachable tint key. If that tint exists, I will tolerate that cluster for 30 seconds. So at first, as the two managed clusters have no tint, I create this management. It will randomly choose one. You can see one managed cluster selected. Okay, the first is that cluster 1 is chosen. And then I will try to make this cluster unreachable. I will manually set a unreachable tint to the cluster 1. If you check the tint, you can see cluster 1 has a tint now, and cluster 2 don't have. If I describe my placement decision, you can see the still cluster 1 being chosen. We can wait for about 30 seconds. Then you can see the decision is the workload is transferred to cluster 2. That means the tint toleration works. Let's check it again. I can see the workload transferred to cluster 2 after about 30 seconds. Okay, that's all for the placement part. Yang, would you like to share your screen to show the
Sure,
tent?
let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, with tent toleration, user is able to add any custom tents to manage clusters. And we also define two built-in tents to reflect the status of a cluster. They are unavailable and unreachable. When a cluster has an unavailable condition in its status, we will add the unavailable tent to this managed cluster automatically. And for unreachable tents, when the cluster has no available condition or the status of the available condition is unknown, we will add an unreachable tents to these managed clusters. We have a controller running on the hub to add those two tents automatically according to conditions in the status of a managed cluster. So with these features, a placement cannot select unhealthy managed clusters unless it has toleration specified for those two tents. Next, I will show a demo. I have a demo video. Okay. In my demo, I will create a managed cluster first. Okay. Once I create the managed cluster, let's check its spec. As we can see, a tent is added to the spec of the managed cluster automatically. The K is unreachable because now in the condition of this managed cluster, there is no available conditions. Next, I will add a condition, available condition to this cluster. The cluster connection tools is I build to set the condition of a cluster. Okay, let's check the spec one more time. Okay, we can say the tent is gone because now in the condition list, we have available condition and its value is true. Next, I will set the available conditions status to false. Let's check the spec of managed cluster again. Okay, another tent is added to this managed cluster. Available because now in the condition list, we have available condition, but its status value is false. Okay, I think that's all for my demo. Any questions?
Are there any questions, Queen Hal as well? Okay, if not,
okay.
Right, go ahead.
If you have any question, you can put in the chat window.
Yep. Wei Liu, do you want to try again with your KCP OCM demo?
Yeah, let's try again. So could you see my screen?
No. Anyone see it? I don't see anything.
No.
Uh,
I think it's okay. I think
okay. I think there's some wrong in my plugins. Maybe I put this topic in next meeting after I face my plugins problem. Yeah.
Yep, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Queen Hell, are you ready to present the continuation of enhancing the OCM community discussion?
Yeah, okay.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. So last 2 weeks we have first have a brainstorming to collect the user experience to how to make OCM community better, and we have a discussion. And if you remember, we have a brainstorming like this, and then we given feedback, we logged 3 issues. These are 3 areas we want to focus on first, including how to improve the user scenarios in our website and to improve our OCM development guide. And another is to have some further discussion on the working groups. And in last week, we mainly work on this to collect more user scenarios. Have collect more user scenario based on our website. For each area, we have some ideas, and these are some keywords it may hard for you to understand, and I summarize them in this link. You can open this doc to see more details. In the bottom, you can see there are a list of user scenarios we plan to add. Some are already done, so we log some issues in the OCM repo. Like how can I run Argo CD with OCM, how to run a multi-cluster service mesh with OCM. Some already assigned some people. If you have interest, you can leave your comments or vote for this or assign it to yourself if you have interest to write some article for this area. And there are also more we do not log issue because it might need some further investigation and discussion on this. If you have interest in our topic, we can have a more discussion on it. You can feel free to give your idea in our Slack channel or log an issue in this repo. Both are fine. That's all for my update. Do you have any question for this? So there are some interesting topics in this list if you look into it, like how to execute on a remote manager, how to use a load balancer to access applications among clusters.
Sorry if you went over this. Is there an issue that cover all these scenarios to be added, or we just pick a few of them?
In this repo, we only picked a few now because these are some features we already implement, so we can write it now. And some you may have interest in, we can have more discussion and decide how to write it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe we should create a parent epic that just parent epic issue that just link all this to that issue. That looks great to me. Thank you.
Yep, that looks really good. Thank you, Queen Al.
Yes, thank you.
Wei Liu, since we still have 25 minutes. Should I try running the demo, Wei Liu, and then you talk over it, or do you want to do it in the next community meeting?
Let me try again share my screen. If I can't, you might help me run my demo. If
Okay.
okay, I tried again. So can you see my screen?
No, I can't see it. I can't see. Are you using the BlueJeans app or are you using the browser?
Browser.
Do you have another browser that you can try? Like a complete browser?
Let me using Firefox. Okay, let me.
Yeah, before that, I think I want to mention one thing is we have a plan that to have the 0.7 release in the next week, Friday. So there are already some discussion about what we want to do in the 0.8 release. So if there are anything that you want to put in the 0.7 release, it's a time to merge it. And if you have any plan that you want to do in the next release, please also think about creating an issue and discuss in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, KJ. Weilu, could you try again if you just joined? Weilu, I think you're muted. Hello, could you guys hear me? Or
Yeah.
oh, you guys can hear me. Okay. Let me try. Oh,
Yeah.
we see something.
Looks good.
Oh.
Firefox may need permissions for the mic if you haven't given it already.
We can see your screen, but we can't hear you, Weilu.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, I will start my demo. Yeah. Today my demo is about KCP and OCM integration prototype. In this prototype, we integration the KCP with OCM. So we think user may leverage KCP to so we think user may put the KCP in the front of the OCM and leverage KCP to something like multi-tenancy and so on. So here is the user flow. If as a user, I deploy a KCP server and create a workspace. And once I create the workspace, our integration controller will create a namespace on the OCM hub to correspond to the KCP workspace. And then the user band one class site with the class site binding to the workspace, and next the integration controller will deploy the KCP sync on in each cluster that are in the class site. Then the KCP syncer will sync the APIs and workloads to the KCP workspace. And after all of this, user can deploy their application. Yeah, there is some design details for our prototype. So we have an integration controller that watches the KCP workspace and watches some resource on the OCP covers. So one workspace is created on the KCP. The integration, the controller will create a namespace to link the workspace, and also it creates a cluster management add-on to maps the KCP workspace. Once the class management add-on is created, the integration controller will start the add-on manager to watch the managed cluster. Once user create managed class set binding to bind managed cluster set, the the integration controller will create the add-on will create the add-on for each managed cluster that in the class site. Then the add-on will install the KCP sync on the managed cluster, and the KCP sync will sync the workloads with the KCP workspace. Yeah, this is the user flow and the design details. Next, I will run my demo. Okay, this is my demo environment. I have one hub and two managed clusters. Firstly, I start the KCP server. Okay, the KCP server is ready. Then I start the controller. Okay, the controller will connect to this controller is run my local environment. It connects to this harbor and connect this KCP server. Then I will start my demo. So firstly, I create a KCP workspace on the KCP server. Yeah, the KCP, the workspace created. And after this, a namespace will be created in the OCM hub. Oh, the controller is not. This may be some minutes. I restart the controller again. What's wrong? Let me clean my demo environment. Okay, I've tried to start the controller again. The controller maybe start slowly because it with the list select.
Oh yeah, you probably need to remove the config map in this namespace, or remove the list in this namespace.
Okay, let's try it. Yeah, I think the controller is started. Let's run the demo again. Okay, firstly, I'll create a workspace in the KCP server, and then the namespace should be created on the hub. Yeah, we can see this namespace will link to the KCP workspace. And we have a class site on the OCM hub, and it has 2 clusters. And next, I will bundle this class site to this namespace. Okay, after class site was bound, the KCP syncer will be deployed to all the managed clusters. We can see the KCP syncer. Yeah, this is on the managed cluster 1, and this syncer is on the managed cluster 2. Yeah, after this, user can deploy their deployment on the KCP workspace. But for now, the KCP need to deploy the KCP splitter on the workspace. So that's all for my demo. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
It's speaking for myself, it looks quite complicated, the setup. Is there like a maybe not one line, but some instructions on how to get everything all set up with a script or something like that?
Yeah, because this is in my demo environment, and for setup, I think we can deploy it in my in the OCM hub, and the KCP server. I also write a script to deploy in cluster. So it will be easy to deploy the KCP server and the list controller. Yeah.
Okay. Is this part of the Quinhale? Is this part of the scenarios, or it's a bit too early for that yet?
No, I think it's early.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we should start. Yeah, I think that that slide looks fine, but we should start a more detailed talk about the architecture and how we run it. With, for example, if you already have an OCM environment, how you can use one script to set up everything.
Yeah. I think I can prepare a script for this. And currently we have README for this, but it is still some steps.
Yeah,
we have README in this repo, and but yeah, anyway, I will give an easy way to run this.
Yeah, the feedback that we've been getting from community is OCM is already a little bit complicated to run, and then this KCP on top is just add another layer of complexity. So I think we really need some like good doc and good diagram to deploy.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Okay, silence is gold. Xu Zhao just joined. We're near at the end of the meeting. Xu Zhao, is there anything you want to bring up, or?
No, thanks.
Okay. If no one has anything, see you all in the next community meeting. Thank you for all the presentations, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.